So we will see anyway. Then I will start anyway, and I will ask Maximilian in case of I have rules of make some works for introduction. But anyway, then I would like to step in. I would like you to step in, and hopefully Brenda will show up later on. Yeah, hi. My name is Joachim Gruber. I'm the staff of CTO of NetzBW, which is a DSO in the southwest of Germany. We have about 2.3 million clients, and I'm mostly in flexibility and to look at it, what the legal and technical framework we need to use flexibility in the future and in which way we can address it. And in that case as well, how we can incentivize the whole energy community to provide this flexibility. Therefore, coming here to the headline of today, it's how to incentivize the customer and the right way, which means by looking at the headline there is a right way. But maybe there's not only one way, maybe there are different ways to do so. And hopefully with all the speakers we will hear that they will show us some of the possibilities they see in which way we can address this potential of flexibility, or as somebody else said this morning in the summit, we're all talking about flexibility, but in the reality we're talking about capacities and how using these capacities that there are. Therefore, here she is. My speaker is there. My first speaker.
Am I showing up late?
Yeah. Yeah, perfect timing. Yeah?
Do I need to mic up?
You will get this one, and I'll take the other one. So, yeah. And I get... So, Brenda Craig of Oracle. Yeah. And the stage is yours. You might say something about yourself.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
do that. Thank you very much. Hello, can you guys hear me with your headsets on? It's kind of a bizarre experience to have the users in headsets. My name is Brenda Craig. I work for Oracle Utilities. I do have an American accent, but I have a British passport. I live in England, and I've been here for 12 years. So, what do I need to do to get to my PowerPoint? Just real quickly. So this one just touched. Okay.
Touch it. Start it.
Yep. Great. And then just go forward.
Looks good. No, here,
Oh, okay,
you
yeah.
have a pointer if you would like to.
Okay. There we go. So today I was going to talk about moving customers from challenges to champions. And it's really about what's happening in the marketplace. You know, I don't have to tell you what's going on. If you walk around European Utility Week, you guys can see, if you were here 5 years ago, how different it is today. Look at all of these new companies that all talk about digital engagement with their customers. So it's all about the technology. The proliferation of smart meters is huge, and utilities need to be able to effectively manage that data. For consumers, I am living in the UK, but I also lived in America. Amazon changed everything. And I think anyone who's ever ordered from them can relate to that. I now can go in, choose anything I want, and get it very, very quickly. So I think consumers are also looking for technology to suit them and to be able to get what they need when they need it. Also, we just bought a new house, and it's an old house built in 1720 in the UK, and we're looking at all of these smart appliances. That's also changing. So you've got smart meters, you've got smart appliances, technology is everywhere, and what we want is omni-channel engagement. I don't know about any of you, but who likes to call and speak to their utility or any customer service? I don't think anyone would raise their hands. That's just not the way we engage today, or we certainly do not want to. Okay? So digital is changing everything. I've walked around and seen lots of new things here today, and I look at this like information anywhere, anytime. There's a vendor over here called Smappy. I have nothing to do with them. I'm not promoting them. They're over in the corner, and they have devices that you can plug in. in your house, and then you plug your appliances into those, and it monitors how much usage that you have. So you could plug it into everything in your house and see exactly where the usage is coming from in your home. I mean, that would be unheard of years ago, so it's all changing. But around the clock availability, I'm a person who travels a lot. I don't want to have to work 8 to 5. If I want to get online and look at my usage or pay my bill, whether it's utilities or anything, I might want to do that at midnight. I might want to do that at 4 in the morning. The utilities need to be available 24/7, and how I want to engage, whether it's an app on my phone or just going to their website, it needs to be easy, okay? What about that digital customer? What do they want? You know, the millennials have changed it all. Look at that. They say 92% of the consumers would be more satisfied if their energy provider could personalize their overall customer experience. You know, when you go in and you do some shopping, you're looking online, you're looking at a nice new pair of shoes, and then you go to another website and they keep pushing those shoes to you. It's kind of creepy, but it's also kind of cool. It understands what you're looking at, what you're interested in. You know, customers want that personalized experience. They also expect better customer service. You know, I don't want to wait for certainly not days, and usually not even hours. We all can go online and use Google to get that information that you want anytime, anywhere. It's like we all want instant satisfaction these days, which makes it very challenging for utilities to be able to deliver that. They also need to be able to send that information to their users. So if they detect that the customer might need a different rate or other products and services, they need to be able to send that to the customer and have that automated. Okay? With that, that brings lots of opportunities. So I never like to see those as problems. I like to see those as opportunities. That is a chance for the utility to be able to engage with their customers at the level that they want and promote other products and services as they see fit. So you've got all those smart meters, you've got all that data. You need to be able to have an IT system to manage that easily and effectively. Okay, we've said there's all this technology as they move forward. More than 60% of utilities do not have the correct technology in place to be able to support this. So there's your traditional CIS, if you will. The customer record, they get a meter read or not. I live in the UK where they might get a meter read once a year. To be able to do that bill calculation, send it to them, do repairs as needed, and then a call center that I have to stay on the line with. There's your traditional CIS. But look at the modern needs or the modern customer expectations. They want to be connected at any time, to be able to do anything that they want. They want to be able to have different programs and services and different rates and be able to access that from anywhere, anytime. Okay? Again, we've talked about it. You've got that. You need a platform that's going to be able to support that. What I like to tell you is Oracle has that platform. So, you know, we are able to help utilities reduce their costs by having that platform. We've got all these different applications from end to end, be able to lower their infrastructure costs. You don't need those different integrations, and the ability to buy as you grow. So if you're a smaller utility, there are lots of challengers out there in different areas, and I think more about the UK because that's where I get my bill. You need to be able to support that. Also, you need to be able to reduce their risk. Oracle is reliable and proven, so I like to think risk is not a problem for us. We're there, we're able to support that. But you've got to be able to innovate. I like to say utilities need to try new things, but they need to try them quickly and fail quickly. Try different things, see what works with their customers. If that doesn't work, move on to the next thing. Customers expect innovation and change, and you need to be able to have a platform to support that. You know, here's an example of the modern customer platform. It's got to be able to support all that. At the center of that is that core customer solution. And sometimes I say that's the boring stuff, but that's the stuff that Oracle does really, really well. We do billing, you have utilities around the world for huge utilities as well as very tiny utilities. We've got the core down pat. We've got a great data model. We've now got that platform with customer care and billing as well as meter data management and operational data technology. It's all there, and customer access. But around that, we can support with different applications, things such as, being able to give them a utility report, the rate changes, give them a notification if we're expecting extreme weather. We've got all of that. Okay? So again, kind of the boring stuff, but this is the stuff the utilities have to get right. This is their revenue, so you need to be able to get those bills out accurately and correctly. So we need to be agile and we need to be flexible. With that, we've taken kind of a different approach. We've got our customer care and billing application, and we had a market-leading meter data management application. We've now combined them into a single application, which we call C2M, customer to meter. And yeah, I can see my PowerPoint's not building correctly, so it's not looking great right there. But you get the idea. It's in a single database. The two come together. Okay, so customers don't have to go out, buy a separate meter data application for all of those smart meters. It's in the same database, fully integrated. It's got exactly what they need on the same platform, so we can cover everything from their smart meters to their customer care. Okay? The customer experience, Oracle also has a great offering of CX or customer experience offering that you can surround that core with. So customers can go in and enter their meter read, sign up for new products and services. We also have artificial or adaptive intelligence. That's where I was talking about. I look at those shoes, or maybe I'm looking at different rates or different products and services that the utility offers, such as boiler service care. Those could be pushed to me. We can see you've been looking at your bill. We're going to offer you different products and services that the utility can use to increase their revenue. Offer them different things. See if they keep looking. If they keep checking once a week on their bill, they're very concerned about that. It's something that the utility would be able to do. Offer them different products and services, push the button, and now that's added to their utility bill. I never like getting a separate bill, but if the utility offers me something that can be interesting, and it's all in a single bill, it makes it easier for me. Okay? That customer engagement. What we've done a couple surveys, and what we see is the customer typically thinks about their utility on an average of 7 minutes per year. So in that case, you better make sure that those 7 minutes matter. And if you're fully engaged with those customers, it's going to be more than 7 minutes, but you need to make sure every minute matters. Every time I'm engaged with my utility, it needs to be a positive experience. Giving me good information or offering me products and services that matter to me, that is what I'm looking for. Okay? What I wanted to do was talk about just a little example. So remember, I was talking about those shoes, and I am a shoe lover. If I'm out shopping in an expensive department store, I like to pretend like I'm at Le Bon Marché in Paris, and I'm looking for a new pair of shoes, and all of a sudden, I get an alert on my phone that says, your bill is projected to be high. I'm probably not going to buy that expensive pair of shoes because I'm going to need that money to pay my utility bill. So by being out, getting an alert from my utility and it says, your bill is trending high, I'm going to adjust my behavior. I'm not going to buy the expensive shoes. I'm probably going to figure out that I need to maybe buy a sweater and go home and turn the heating down. Okay? So what I like is it's being proactive, looking at me, knows that I'm concerned about a high bill, and alerting me to that. It's going to give me an actionable insight on what I need to do to adjust my behavior. I then get my bill. I can see that everything there is in detail. I've got the graph of my usage. I can see what it was the last time. I know all of the details. I don't need to call the utility. I don't need to drill down. All that information is available to me over my phone. That, to me, is all about digital transformation and great customer service. And with that, I'm going to end it. I don't think that you have to go far to see Oracle Utilities over there. If you'd like any more details, we'd love to show you what we've got. Please come by and visit with Oracle. Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? That's probably what he's going to ask.
Would have been my offer now to the audience to ask any questions, if there are some.
Quick and efficient. That's what I usually am.
If there are none, I have one.
Okay.
Because what you're proposing, I've seen, let's say, throughout the last years, moreover in a lot of presentations. At the end, what I've seen as well, customers are not queuing for it. There's a value proposition we are talking about for the last years, or decades even, and it looks like that the customer is not reacting to it. How can we address them better? Because this is something, yeah.
Exactly. It's funny. You know, sometimes when you go on those sites and they offer you something, and when you say no, it pops up and says, are you sure you don't want to save money? I think appealing to customers and what's important to them, you know, like certain customers are interested in green energy where they don't really care about reducing. So I think making sure that you have systems that can personalize it for each customer, because green energy might mean something to you. I have a Scottish husband, I can tell you, reducing bills is what's important for me. So I think understanding what's important to the customer and making sure that it's personalized for them, because green energy is important to my husband, but saving money is more important. Deep pockets and short arms in Scotland. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now you have time to
Come and visit
consider
if you
the
need.
idea if you have questions.
It's
No?
a quiet group, but thank you very much.
Okay. Well, thank you, Brenda. Do not have to switch it off. It's fine. Thanks. It was too early. It saved us a lot of time. So, next one on the stage is Maximilian Kloos from Ökostrom, head of trading desk. And this might be very interesting to see what he, as a trader, thinks about the possibility to unleash the flexibility potential. Because I think in some case it might be his daily business.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for the
stage is yours, and
yeah.
hopefully we get some interesting insights.
So, yeah, my name is Maximilian Kloos, and I'm head of trading of Ökostrom AG. So we are an Austria-based utility company based here in Vienna. And the business model I'm going to present now was elaborated within the Best Rest project, which is an EU project with the aim of developing innovative business models for the integration of renewable energy sources through aggregation. And as you see, there's various membering countries here with partner in each of these countries, and we are representing Austria here, and there we developed two business models of which I want to present one now in more detail. So just some figures about Ökostrom AG. We are a pioneer of renewable energy in Austria. Founded in 1999, and we were the first ones to provide 100% renewable power to the customers in 2000, and we were the first to buy excess feed-in from PV producers in 2003, and we also were a wind generation pioneer here. And currently we are supplying 60,000 customers in all over Austria. And yeah, we have 1,400 excess feed-in suppliers, mostly PV. And we're operating 40 megawatt of wind in Austria and neighboring countries, and also some large-scale PV sites. We organized as a holding company with three fields: production, trading, and sales. And now coming to the actual business model, I want to present the concept of variable tariffs, or time of use tariffs. So the idea was we wanted to see how we can flexibilize consumer demand, extending flexibilization to small customers. So for the concept of variable tariffs, so unlike the commonly known fixed tariffs, where we have here on the left a single price in every hour during the day, in a variable tariff we can have, as it said, like the tariff, the price depends on the hour where the power is actually consumed. So in the middle you see, for instance, a two-zone price model, or on the right, you could say the most advanced form would be maybe a spot price dependent model, where like the price is forwarded to the customer in hourly resolution. So hereby really representing the situation in the market. And earlier it was only possible to have this kind of business model for producers or large-scale consumers. And now with the technical key of a smart meter, you could also extend it to small customers. And this is what we wanted to try in Austria here. So coming a bit to the economic principle, the economic motivation to apply variable tariffs. So the idea is to incentivize system beneficial consumer behavior. So that means the customer should consume more power when there is much available in the system, and he should consume less power when the power is scarce in the system. So unlike up to the present, where the customer demand is very unflexible, we hope that with these kind of business models we're going to be able to flexibilize demand, at least to some extent. And this is especially important when it comes to an increasing share of fluctuating renewable power. When we will see like more and more fluctuations here in the power supply in hours where there's a lot of renewables, prices are going to be low, and in hours when renewables are scarce, the prices are going to be high. And when the power load, the power demand stays inelastic, this could lead to a higher price fluctuation, whereas when the power load can shift to some extent, this power price spikes wouldn't be that extreme, and so we would have a system beneficial behavior of the customers. So in order to find out what the attitude of our customers towards variable tariffs is, we conducted a customer survey. So we addressed 17,000 of our customers in selected areas. So we picked areas where we knew that there would be also already a higher rollout rate, so more smart meters available. And we got a feedback of 1,000 surveys, and we raised demographic data, housing situation, and knowledge and attitude towards smart meters. And I want to briefly go through some of the results. So first of all, how they live. So we have a 50% in family houses, 50% in apartments. So then the question, do you operate a photovoltaic system? We see a 50% rate of photovoltaic homes with photovoltaic equipment, and 2% even have a battery storage available in their house. And what is important is 20% have been already equipped with a smart meter. So further question where if the customers have already dealt with time variable electricity tariffs, so 30% said yes, they have heard of that. And also like 70% could imagine to use time variable tariffs in the future, so quite a positive attitude towards those kind of products. And more than half of them even think that they could benefit from it. And also 70% want to be informed by us as soon as we have this product available for everyone. So coming to the variable tariff design. So we designed the model like I'll just explain the key elements. So we have a monthly basic charge, and the power price will be the day-ahead power price of the Austrian spot market from the EXA power exchange. And on top there is a fixed fee on the power price, so representing the quality of the power. So we are supplying 100% renewable power, so for the quality we need a markup here. There's visualization of consumption and power prices in the customer portal. We'll see that in a next slide. And there will be monthly billing of actual consumption at the realized prices. So what we see here is the customer portal. So we have, like customer information, customer number, facility number, tariff. So our tariff is called Ökostrom Smart Home. We see the monthly bill, and on the right we see the metering data section, where you have the distribution system operator, which is Netz Oberösterreich, which is in Upper Austria, the regional DSO. Metering number, and at the bottom you see the power prices here in red, and at the bottom you see the load. This is just exemplary data. So, but this should make sure that the customer is able to have a look in the customer portal what is going on. And he can even see that on his mobile device. So now coming to the implementation plan, we have 3 phases. First of all, we have a preparation phase. The key challenges here was setting up the data exchange interface to the DSOs. So according to the defined customer processes. So in the past, like the DSO forwarded data to us like once a month, and now he has to forward us data like on a daily basis, because we have to have it on the current day. We have to receive it for the previous day. So this is kind of a challenge to set that up for the first time here in Austria. And another challenge was the setup of a process to obtain the customer's declaration of consent for forwarding their data. So personal data with the EU General Data Protection Regulation became a serious issue here. So that had to be considered in the planning process as well. Then there was the adaptation of the billing system in order to be able to bill the customers on an hourly or even quarterly resolution. So yeah, in the past it was just actually just a yearly precise billing, and now we have a monthly billing on detailed, on exact load consumption figures on a quarterly resolution. And then, of course, the adaptation of the customer portal in order to be able to visualize the situation, like the price situation to the customer. Next was the testing phase. This is where we actually are at the moment. So we are testing that. The plan was to test that with about 50 selected pilot customers. So we limited it to 50 customers, because there was a lot of manual process at the beginning. So all the processes had to be set up manually, and they had to be addressed manually. So, and all the errors had to be corrected and stuff like that. So the main motivation of the testing phase was just testing data exchange processes, the process for the declaration, billing processes, and of course getting feedback from customers on how the perception of the tariff is and what could be improved. So next step, once all problems are solved, will be the market introduction, which is expected to happen next year once we are able to fully automatize the process. But in the testing phase, we identified some regulatory and practical barriers. So first of all, we see that the DSOs lag behind with their smart meter rollout. Yeah? So when our project started 2 years ago, it was projected that the rollout rate would be considerably higher at this point. So this is something. So in order to present, to offer the product to a wide circle of customers, we need to have a high rollout rate. But what we also experience is that the DSOs, they lag behind with the implementation of data interface and the data exchange process. So here is, we see that there's a lot of pioneering work to do. So we are actually, in many cases, we were the first who actually asked the distribution system operator to forward the data, and they were kind of surprised what we want from them. So we have to set up this process with each of the DSOs. So in Austria we have, I think, 140 distribution system operators, and we have to go through them like one by one, setting up a process here. And yeah, another thing that occurred to us is like there seems to be no clear regulatory standard how customer declaration of consent on data use has to be forwarded. So our idea was to get this consent simply by having the customer checking a box in the application form. But it turned out that each of the DSOs has a different expectation how they would need this agreement. So in order to be able to automatize this process, we have to have a single standard in the entire country. So yeah, we see here that the challenge is that the DSOs getting the smart meter data from the consumer through the DSO and the data handling permit. To have this automatized, this is going to be the challenge, and this is what we are struggling with, and we hope to have that solved in a couple of months, and then we will be able to launch the product countrywide. So coming to the summaries and outlook, so our experiences were that there was a high interest among customers for variable tariffs. And the feedback we got from our pilot customers is that they really liked the fact that the consumption is visualized and thereby tangible, and because that creates awareness of their power consumption. Challenges we have seen was unexpected changes in the regulatory framework. So smart meter rollout schedule was postponed constantly. Then there was the EU General Data Protection Regulation, that was a challenge. And yeah, of course, slow smart meter rollout is still an issue. And as mentioned, the data exchange process that has to be set up in a really difficult process with the DSOs one by one. And of course, all the topic of data protection is a challenge as well. So for the outlook, we see that the variable tariffs can lead to cost savings on both supplier and customer side. And we feel that variable tariffs are the key for a lot of future smart services and applications, and therefore feel that variable tariffs are definitely the future for small customer tariffs. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Maximilian. Very interesting from my point of view. So again, the question to the audience, if there are questions. So now we start the fun part of the game. It's throwing the cube. Just speak into the cube. Don't be afraid of it.
Yeah. So I'm from India, and the biggest problem what I see with this model is the acceptance rate of customers. Because what I see is that it has a steep learning curve when you start rolling it out to the customers. And how are you going to address to that, the acceptance rate because of the steep learning curve with the end users?
Yeah, for the customers, it's definitely going to be a change here, because they're used to maybe they see their electricity consumption as a yearly bill. Like we heard that they spend 7 minutes a year thinking of it in the past. So now they will be, we expect that they will have spent more time on it. And once you bring that, for instance, on a mobile device, we feel that and visualized in a handy way, So that will bring their power consumption closer to customer. And also I think that especially in power systems with high renewable shares, the time of consumption will make a difference. And if they don't deal with it, they will feel it at some point financially. Okay. And this will kind of teach them, I guess.
Okay, so the financials are going to be an incentive for them, the kind of savings that they would be making on a yearly basis.
It's definitely a financial incentive. I mean, smart meters and variable tariffs is just the basic of the future. I mean, I'm not sure whether a customer will look into his prices and check whether when he's going to run his laundromat. Yeah? So this will at some point run automatically. So I think that at some point we will only hand on the power price information to a home management system, and that will control maybe the electric car, the battery storage, the PV feed-in, and the heat supply. So things that are not affecting the customers actually. And so, yeah, it's just a transition phase now.
Thank you.
Sorry, it's over there. Sarah, up to you.
Yeah, I would like to know if your study includes also the study of the interaction between this tariff-driven consumption. So if there is any effect on the consumption in the other direction. So you want to neutralize the energy production in some phases, and if you have price-driven consumption, it can be that you have some effects in the other direction. So you have bottlenecks because the usage of electricity is much more than planned.
Are you referring to the interaction of power consumption and power price?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna go back to a slide here. Yeah, maybe this here. So, I mean, this information here is at the top is the price information. So in this case, it's not an extreme price curve, but in this case, the customer sees that in the night hours and maybe around midday, where there's PV feed-in, the prices are low. Mm-hmm. So he would make sure not to have his consumption here, and he would avoid like these hours here when the prices are high. And yeah, this truly affects then the total demand. So at some point, when it comes to us, to the trading department, we will statistically consider that effect, that when we have a high price forecast for the next day, or that the customers will react. So we will, to some extent, lower our demand expectation then, and so then we have a direct link, power prices to load. Yeah?
So you have always a dynamic price as a reaction, not just to the production, but also to the consumption.
Yeah, I mean, it affects the price. Yeah? Yeah. So when there's like, I would say when the majority of of households is equipped with smart meter devices that are reacting to power prices, so our expectations, like our load forecast, would change for the next days.
Yeah.
So, and there will definitely be an impact. So that would reduce price spikes. So going maybe like, but the economic concept is more or less here, yeah. So in low price hours, if this is the supply,
yeah,
and he sees a low price, the demand increases, mm-hmm. And whereas here, and yeah, if you compare these two, yeah, like this is inflexible demand, so you see a high price here, mm-hmm. And here the demand shifts to low, and we got lower prices. So this is the interaction, mm-hmm. of load and prices. So customer behavior will affect price. This is the bottom line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Any questions related to that issue directly? Because if not, I have one. The thing is, I was wondering how you're doing the sourcing, because normally this is a residential customer. He has a standard load profile. Do you really then create individual profiles for your sourcing of energy and for the balancing as well? Because there I have the idea that you might create with that a lot of high transaction costs, because you have to calculate it and you have to schedule it, and you have, or is the portfolio that big enough that you can then make an arbitrage with other customers?
Yeah. So yeah, as you said, like up to now we had standard load profiles for households, and with these metering devices, they will actually be metered exactly how they consume, and so there's some uncertainty in the demand forecast for us. But we think like with quantity, like if we have 1,000 to 10,000 customers, it will more and more approximate to the standard load profile. But it's definitely going to be a bit of a challenge and a steep learning, I guess, here.
Thanks. So the cube is already at the back.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much for the nice presentation. You said one challenge was that where the smart meter rollout delayed a little bit, so the data wasn't available, or you were not able to see the data. Did you also see challenges, for example, or did you use grid data for anything like except of smart metering, or if you want to have a price based on grid data, for example, to see local congestions, for example, would you see this as a challenge, or do you think only smart meter data would be enough for this kind of pilots?
Yeah, I mean at this point, yeah, we're actually focusing on getting the smart meter data in. So we haven't looked into the grid, I have to say here, but yeah, that's what we are focusing on, like getting the smart meter data. Yeah, it's just, I mean, we are like, the grid is not our field. We are a supplier. So, and going to this slide here, yeah. So we want to make sure as a supplier to get the smart meter data. This is what we are working on. Like, this is our focus for the next months in order to be able to launch the tariff. Yeah.
Throw it, you can handle it.
Hello. My question is, when does your customer know his or her price in advance? Day ahead or week ahead or just ex post?
So he receives the price in the afternoon of the day before delivery. So because the power exchange clears at 10 or 12 the day, and they get forwarded the data in the afternoon, so they can see what their price is going to be for the following day in order to be able to adapt their user behavior. So yeah, for us, this is a bit like, from a trading perspective, this is a bit of a risk, because they have information that we didn't have when we were forecasting them, but this is our risk then.
And sorry, just Austria was together with Germany before in the daily auction, and there were many hours with negative pricing as well as with €100. So the price variability is huge. How do the customers react to this?
The thing is, since we started the testing phase just this year, with a couple of customers, we haven't had that severe negative price events yet, so we don't have experience from that. And ever since the price zone was separated, Austria remained positive, because the negative price phase was because of German wind, above all. And now, like, since the Austrian wind is much smaller compared to Austrian demand, we are not expecting to see a negative price phenomenon. But it's definitely would be an interesting question what they do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one last question, then we're running out of time, because you see, it's very interesting. Everybody, a lot of questions. So I'm quite happy about that.
How do the customer know that they are really saving money? And second question related to that is, from what kind of percentage of saving can you convince a customer to participate?
Yeah. So yeah, important question. Yeah. So I mean, at some point we will further elaborate our user portal to display savings to them. So they will have a reference if they didn't have the smart meter. So what would happen if they hadn't shifted? The total savings, yeah, it's. I think at first we will address innovators who see this as a challenge to be the first adopters of that. Then it's going to be, yeah, in the first place also a bit of optimizing, kind of gamification approach. But at some point there will definitely be savings. And we just have to design the tariff in a such way that we have a sufficient incentive for them to use that, yeah, to adopt it. But based on experience, we can't answer it yet because we are just launching it. So I guess in 2 years, we can actually say, okay, what was the savings? What's the real incentive? What's the necessary incentive to get them to use that?
Yeah, so thank you very much, Maximilian. I'm very delighted about this presentation because, to be honest, the last 5 years I've heard a lot about it. I've seen a lot of slideshows. And to be honest, this one is the first one with real customers. And the experience really in the field and not only calculations based on studies or whatever. So thank you very much for that and a big hand for him. Which brings me to my next speaker, who is back there still, already there. This is good for me. And I'm proud to announce Santi Martinez Ferraro. Ferrero, sorry. There are 3 words, there are 3 names in the name, so it's already too much for me. Sorry for that. Anyway, CEO of Kilometer Zero, KM Zero, which means you're at the start of your way, but you have been as well before CEO, and you have made some experience with customers, and you're having the experience of failures, I think, what not to do with the customer. I'm curious to hear about it.
For you? Okay. Use this for slides? Yeah. For slides? Okay, thank you very much. Yes, for 8 years I've been in a DSO in a local utility. Currently I'm freelance supporting administration and companies in energy transition affairs. Let me run a very quick survey. You're here because you have some interest in energy subjects, isn't it? Who in the audience is not linked to a company, organization, university dealing with energy? Who's not? So, and when you are in the sector, it happens many times. We are not a sample of the society, we are a sample of a niche of the society. And we like graphs and to talk about kilowatt hours and savings. And we had very good examples. But I was asked to talk about this and then to say, is the energy sector ready for having the customer at the center, as the Commission is asking in each one of the directives? But let me say, is the customer ready for being at the center? Is the customer really willing? Is the main topic for a customer? Or probably he prefers or she to go to the cinema or to walk, or because we say these 7 minutes that he said that the customer is busy with the invoices. Yes, for breaking the invoices and throwing it to the basket. There's no really close relationship between consumers and energy. You know this by heart. This is from 2013. And this is where the Commission, and this is a very good slide because it explains very clear what's going on. So we have some trends from centralized to decentralized, from conventional to renewable energy, prices from fixed to flexible, and there are some obstacles normally in the distribution grid, which are instability, congestion, and the solution is the smart grid. And this is things that are coming, but I mean, the customer is not yet there. Even when we talk about what's going on, we never pay attention to social impact and customer, really. The next thing is the market design, and here we have the prosumers. But a prosumer, there's no necessarily someone which is active. It's simply someone that because of different reasons, financial, sustainability, has bought maybe PV cells, maybe an electrical vehicle, maybe a battery. But there's no reason for thinking that this prosumer is going to be at the center of the system because of his wish and new activities, and someone really interested in having things like this. I'm sure that 99% of the people around here, we would like to have this. But if we go outside in the street, this is the percentage will be dramatically reduced because we enjoy with this. But you cannot expect normal, regular customers to be really involved in managing temperatures and all these things. We could expect, and this is thanks to the Internet of Things probably, that the consumer one day will be asked, how do you like to be at home? And your answer will be fine. And the systems should do it. And we cannot expect the consumer to be controlling every single item. You know, we have data. At this moment, we have data. And we talk a lot, the new asset of the electrical companies will be not anymore the typical asset, trafos, lines, is going to be data. But in fact, the truth is data, when it's analyzed, once you put in a big data system and there's some analytics, only then data will have value. You know, this is some publicity from a company from Barcelona. That's cheap, it works, and it's easy to install. It's so easy that I did it on my own. So you simply go there, you put it, connect to the cloud, and you get, of course, you will get all this information. And then we should ask why people, customers, are not queuing, buying thousands of devices. Maybe, you know, customers are buying the Nest device because it's nice, it's fancy, but the data is for Google. It's not for the system. It's not for the owner even of the meter. So when we have this, when we have data, we can provide our customers with beautiful reports. Dear customer, this month you're here. This will be last year. Compared to your neighbors having similar conditions, power contracted, square meters, and so on, you are at this level of sustainability or savings. We can tell you where you are weather dependent, so whether we can understand whether you have airco or electrical heating. We can tell you currently you have one daily price. If you would change to day and night prices, you would save that money. We can tell you, the customer, you have this power contracted, but looking at the consumption of the last year, you could reduce. This we can provide to the customers. We were providing this to 17,000 customers. And every 6 months, we had a meeting with all them. Every time, the same 17. So people working with IT, people working with always subject related to energy. So out of 17,000, 17 were really making a profit out of it. So I would say that we are making a huge effort in delivering quality information to someone that is more interested in the rest of the things of life, not really on this. So if things are really easy for the customers, we can expect some reaction. Of course, when I bought my electrical vehicle, then I changed my tariff, and the washing machine, drying machine, anything went to night, and then it means that you have to wake up 15 minutes before to avoid that the clothes remain wet in the washing machine, and then you change behavior. But this is because we are in a niche of crazy people which is interested in these kind of things. And then the poor prosumer is expected to become active. And we are not motivating the prosumers. So we don't have a market in general. We have niche, bigger or smaller, but we are not being able, after some years of having a lot of data and a lot of devices, we are not being able to create a market, which is something which runs millions of impacts. Then you could expect to create a marketplace or something and have change the relationship with customers. Then who will pay for this device? In a middle-sized city near Barcelona, in Rubí, they made a test with this one, and they said the municipality offered a special price, and no one bought. No one. Then the municipality said, okay, you pay only some quantity, and this amount will be back to you when you return the device. No one did it. And it was only when it was for free that then 100 families said yes. So it's only when you make this really, really easy, available, you give it for free, that people could start to be motivated. But let me show you something. This is another company. They are in Hall A. They are also from Barcelona region, and they are working with big data analytics. But this is, let me see. They were analyzing 15,000 customers, domestic customers. And they came back with results. And they said 460 of them, they have, this is not true. These are months. This is January, February. So these are families which have higher consumption in winter than the rest of the year. They said that some of them, they had a consumption of 8,000, 12,000. The average in Spain is 3,300 kilowatt hour a year. So here, you get some knowledge of which type of customers they are. They say that they have electrical heating. They don't have airco. And this is the average of power of the fuse, the power contracted. And the type of tariff. So whole day, same price, day and night prices, and the same thing, but with higher power. So with this same data, this company is able to create these reports. But this is for the customer. Currently, with the new data protection regulation, how can you send to a customer who has not signed a document, how can you send them something like this, which is good, but I mean, it's illegal to send it. But in the back office, in the site of the DSO or the aggregator or the retailer, in the back office, the quality of the information for improving your operations is high. I asked them how many of these 15,000 customers, the house is a second house. Because of course, if you know it, then you can go with a special offer or asking, where is your first house? Do you want to be my customer there? And they simply said, people which is using the house normally, because this is not an obvious thing. Big data, I mean, it's not a big access database. It's something really complex with millions of records, with billions of records. And they said, okay, 400A, we consider they have low consumption a year basis, and they have the average power. So these are 400A customers that could be used or be an example for applying certain quality information or special offers. Let's say those are domestic houses. We discover that there's people, 275, that do the opposite. They are in the house only from Monday to Friday. And so in a regular house, we will have a smart meter, we have a Nest thermostat, we have an electrical vehicle, we have a battery, Sonnen battery, we have an electric boiler, a smart fridge, we have PV cells, and honestly, after the experience of dealing with customers, let's say customers which are not focusing all his life in the energy sector, so normal people, not like we. From all these people, you cannot expect to manage all this. So what we need are intelligent, and so we have business, big data analytics, but then some artificial intelligence to make their life easy. And who's gonna pay for all this? So, and this is what I would like to debate with you, because I'm not sure. But I think that the ones going to pay for this are the members of the system, the ones going to get really the benefit of the information, of quality information. And this could be the suppliers, especially the aggregators. You know, here there's people from Tico in Switzerland. They give the device for free. And there are many aggregators which strategy is already giving the device for free, not expecting the consumer to pay for the device. So, or even the DSO or the TSO or someone in this side, not this poor guy or girl, which has enough in investing in PV cells and electrical vehicles. We cannot not ask the prosumer to do everything. And this is the point, and well, I know that at least one question I will have. So, and that's all from my side. With an artificial intelligence, we could expect to have a life like the Jetsons. Some of you don't remember. I see some people here that even their parents, they have not seen it. This is from the 60s, and those were the Jetsons, and they have a beautiful life. Beautiful life, but pay attention. Who's driving the car? Who's making the gym? Who's taking care of the health of the kid? And who's watching? But anyway, I remember when I saw it, at home it was black and white, not color. They have a fantastic life, but they never took care of the electric consumption because someone did it. Maybe the nanny robot. And that's all.
Thank you very much, Santi. And you've made me travel back to my youth. I know it's also new, the Jetsons in black and white. It was the Saturday evening divertiment. Thank you. Any questions? And I'd like to throw the cube at somebody or to somebody. It depends how he's asking for questions. No questions at all? Still, let's say, I don't have a question, but to make this a successful story, I would grant you a wish. What will this wish, and what would this wish be? What do you wish for the future in that case, that you can get closer to the customer, or what has to be done that this is going to be a successful story?
Come on. Yeah, no. One thing is clear, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. People, families, companies are going to improve the efficiency of their places and the efficiency of their tariffs and the use that we make of the electrical system. Electrical system is there, has been there for more than 100 years, and we know that we switch on and it's so simple. And we have never really taken care of all these things. So they say that less than 5% of the European population understands the kilowatt-hour concept. Then life is difficult. If I sell you a meter or something, we both understand. If I sell you a kilowatt-hour, life is difficult. But a few days ago, I was saying that, and someone told me this is going to change because I have an electrical vehicle, and the distance from my house to my office is 4 kilowatt-hour. So things gonna change, and technology is there. So it's only a question of social evolution, but someone has to trigger it, and it has to be triggered by the ones getting the profit.
Okay. Thank you. A hand for Santi, and thank you again for the Jacksons. Yes, and then we have a little change in the program. Unfortunately, Sandra Trittin has to be at the summit replacing her boss. She will be there after the break. But therefore, Eunice Ribeiro is stepping in, and we will hear about the mobility to the energy transition, or the intelligent mobility also, which is quite interesting, because I don't know mobility, but intelligent mobility, this might be interesting to hear about it. Yep, just like your iPad.
Hi, good afternoon. Many thanks for being here. I'm here to present to you an initiative from the European Innovation Partnership in Smart Cities and Communities. This European Innovation Partnership is supported by the European Commission, and it has several initiatives which are led by stakeholders of the society. This one in particular is named IMET, Intelligent Mobility for the Energy Transition, and it's led by Nissan Europe. My name is Eunice, and I work for Ubiware, and I'm here for presenting you this. So what is this initiative about? The idea behind this is to address the energy transition by using the changes in the intelligent mobility as a means to achieve it. How this is related to the consumers, how this is related to the flexibility of this energy systems, it's simple. With electrical cars, with electrical vehicles, the whole mobility is changing and is getting closer, is intersecting the energy sector. The new advanced digitalization is bringing this to us. So we have three different vectors here. We have intelligent power, we have intelligent driving, and at the same time, we have the intelligent integration of these means in order to make it happen. As said before, the technology is out there, but we need something more. We need to make it real for the consumers. And intelligent mobility for the energy transition is all about the challenges of the future. Our customer is changed. Our customer is new. New paradigms are coming, and this is also provided by this digitalization. People are now with lots of power in their hands. They know their role, but they need to become more active. And in order to become more active, the cities have also a role to play. There are more actors here than only the consumer itself. And mobility is a great means to achieve this, because mobility until now has been using fossil fuels, has been depending on them. We've been seeing lots of congestions in our cities. We rely on mobility to do our lives. And what if we can change our mobility patterns? Or if our city, our ecosystem where we are integrated can change it in order to change also the way we consume and produce our energy? So these are the energy challenges that are brought by this ecosystem, by this urban ecosystem of putting together mobility and energy. We are growing our energy consumption by integrating these electrical vehicles in our lives. But at the same time, we have an amazing opportunity of integrating even more production of renewable energies, of getting even more generation from distributed sources. And this is the opportunity that we have. However, there are many challenges, there are many barriers. These barriers come from regulations, come from the market itself, come from different visions. And we, different stakeholders all over Europe, we decided to unite forces from different backgrounds that we have. Nissan as an automotive company. Myself, I work for a software developer, and we've been providing platforms for cities, but also other actors in many other areas, mobility, energy systems, energy related to buildings, and so on. We brought us together and we decided to unite forces with the pilots that can actually make the difference in the cities, that can actually lighthouse what can be done in terms of putting together mobility and energy. And these are some of the contacts of the people involved. So we are doing this in a way to share the best practices that we are doing of the projects that we have. We have objectives to achieve. So there's a first phase of these projects that we are currently building on, going beyond the zero emissions, where the idea is to create and validate business models in urban environment, innovate storage systems, for example, using second life batteries, such as the X-Storage, and come up with new mobility and energy services. In a second phase, we would like to add to this after 2019, the new automated driving, because this can be a further driver for more of the conjunction of the mobility and the energy sectors. And these are the activities that we are doing right now. So we've been targeting not only the technology, but also the policy side, and coming up with best practices, coming up with this lighthouse in projects in cities. And these are the current projects that we have right now, targeting mobility and energy at the same time. And it's the work that we have been doing in vehicle-to-grid and also in mobility services that can extend and accelerate the energy transition. And this was it. I hope it was interesting to you. It's a different perspective from the ones that have been presented right now. And I'm looking forward to your questions and potential doubts. Many thanks. I guess I was too fast for the chairman.
You were definitely too fast. Any questions? Doesn't look like. Sorry for that, but it's, you're definitely too fast. But it was mobility. Mobility is also linked to speed. So anyway. Yeah, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see each other after the break then.